Have you ever felt like life is moving, but you're not really in it? Like you're watching yourself from a distance, doing everything right, yet feeling like something is missing? You wake up, work, chase, scroll, laugh when you're supposed to, nod when you should, and still deep down, there's this quiet ache that never leaves, the kind that creeps in when everything goes silent. You can't explain it. You just know that even with all the things you've achieved, something inside you still whispers, there must be more than this. You've spent years building a life you were told would make you happy, a career, a relationship, a version of success that fits the picture everyone painted for you. You've done everything you were supposed to, but no one told you what to do when you finally get there and realize it doesn't feel the way you thought it would. You reach the top of one hill only to see another one waiting, and another, and another. You keep walking, but you're not sure why anymore. The harder you chase meaning, the further it slips away. There's this unspoken fear that if you stop chasing, everything will fall apart. That without the next goal, the next milestone, you'll lose your reason to keep going. So you run faster. You fill the silence with noise, the emptiness with distractions. You keep pretending you're fine because everyone else is pretending too. But somewhere deep inside, you know the truth. You've been living for someday. That imaginary day when it all comes together. When you'll finally feel complete. But someday keeps moving further away, no matter how close you think you are. Maybe no one ever told you that life isn't something you catch. It's something you notice, something you breathe in when you finally stop trying to control it. But it's hard to stop, isn't it? Because if you do, you might have to face yourself. You might have to ask the questions you've avoided for years. Who am I when I'm not achieving? Who am I when there's nothing left to prove? Who am I without the next thing to chase? The answers scare you because they don't sound like the version of you the world expects. But what if this ache you feel isn't a sign of failure? What if it's an invitation? What if it's life trying to wake you up? Maybe all these years of striving weren't about finding something out there, but about realizing what's been here all along. You keep waiting for life to begin after the promotion, after the house, after the right person, but life doesn't wait. It's already happening. In every breath, every glance, every quiet moment you overlook while planning for a future that never arrives. You don't need to fix your life. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to be here. Really here. To stop thinking of the present as a stepping stone and start seeing it as the destination. The mind will resist. It's trained to chase, to measure, to compare. It tells you that peace is on the other side of effort. But look closer. Everything you've ever wanted, to feel enough, to feel whole, to feel free, it's not hiding in the future. It's in this moment, waiting for you to notice it. When you stop trying to hold the world still, it starts to flow again. You'll find beauty in the things you used to rush through. The way light falls on your skin in the morning. The way your chest rises and falls without you asking it, to the way time slows when you stop fighting it. This isn't about giving up ambition. It's about remembering that you were never meant to live in pursuit of life. You were meant to live inside it. Maybe that's the secret most people never realize. The peace you've been chasing doesn't come from getting everything right. It comes from finally letting go. From allowing yourself to exist without needing a reason. From understanding that this, right now, is not a rehearsal. It's the whole show. And the moment you see that, really see it, the quiet ache inside you dissolves. Not because you've filled it, but because you've finally stopped running from it. So take a breath. Feel it all. The chaos, the calm, the uncertainty, the beauty. It's all part of the same truth. You were never lost. You were just moving too fast to see where you already were. The moment you stop running, something strange happens. The noise fades. The world, for the first time in years, feels real again. You start to notice the weight of your own heartbeat. You feel your breath slow and alive. But then another feeling creeps in, fear. Because without the chase, who are you? You've built your entire identity around becoming, achieving, striving. Standing still feels like drowning. The silence feels like a threat. Your mind screams for motion, for distraction, for something to prove that you still exist. But that voice, the one demanding movement, is the very thing keeping you from peace. You were taught that meaning comes from effort, that your worth depends on what you build, what you own, who you impress. You believe that the more you did, the more you'd matter. But all that striving was never about success. It was about escaping yourself. And you can't outrun yourself forever. At some point you have to stop and look. The life you've been trying to create is already here, quietly waiting beneath the noise. You've just been too busy searching to see it. There's a kind of freedom that doesn't come from getting everything you want. It comes from realizing you don't need to. When you stop measuring your value by how far you've climbed, something opens inside you. The anxiety loosens its grip. The exhaustion softens. You begin to understand that the point of life isn't to reach the top. It's to experience every step without missing the view. The pressure to be more fades, and what's left is something real, something alive. But freedom asks for courage. The courage to let go of who you thought you had to be. The courage to stand in the present without a plan, without a label, without a mask. It's terrifying, but it's the only way back to yourself. Because somewhere along the way you stopped being a human being and became a human doing, constantly proving, constantly performing. You forgot that life doesn't need a performance, it needs presence. And here's the truth most people never face. Time doesn't wait for you to realize this. Every second you spend chasing tomorrow is a second stolen from the only moment that's real, this one. You don't get today back. The people you love will change, fade, move on. The opportunities you ignore will vanish. The dreams you keep postponing will dry up under the weight of hesitation. One day you'll wake up and wonder where it all went. You'll realize that life didn't pass you by. You just weren't paying attention. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Stop telling yourself you'll start living when things settle down. They never will. The perfect time is always now. The real peace you crave isn't out there. It's buried under the noise you keep feeding. Strip it away. Let the stillness scare you. Let it shake you awake. Because in that stillness you'll find the thing you've been chasing your entire life. Yourself. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to fix every part of your story. You just need to show up for your own life. Not halfway. Not when it's convenient. Completely. Every breath, every second, every mistake, yours to live fully. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. You realize that the meaning you've been searching for was never hidden. It was right here, in the simple act of existing, in the quiet miracle of being alive. This is your wake-up call, not tomorrow, not someday. Now. You have this one brief window of time, to love, to grow, to feel, to be. Don't waste it trying to prove your worth. You were already enough before you even began. Life isn't a race to the finish line. It's a chance to finally stop running and start living. The question is no longer what comes next. The question is, what will you do with what's here? Because everything you've ever been searching for is already waiting inside you, right now, in this breath, in this moment. You've spent your life thinking there's a moment when it all clicks, when you finally become the person you were meant to be. But what if that moment isn't coming? What if this is it? The realization hits hard because you've built your world around a future that doesn't exist yet. You've been waiting for permission to live, waiting for the right time, the right version of yourself, the right conditions to finally feel worthy of peace. But time isn't waiting. Every second you hesitate, life quietly moves on without you. The choice is brutal but simple. You either wake up to your life now, or you watch it slip away piece by piece. This is where most people break. They sense the truth closing in, and instead of facing it, they retreat. Back to distraction, back to noise, back to pretending everything's fine. But deep down, they know it isn't. The fear isn't about failure. It's about facing how much time they've already lost. It's the weight of knowing that the life they're living isn't the one they truly want. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. It burns inside you until you decide to change, until you decide to stop running and start living like your days actually matter. Every person alive is carrying invisible regret. The words they never said, the chances they didn't take, the moments they postponed for a future that never arrived. And the longer you wait, the heavier that weight becomes. You start convincing yourself that you have time, but you don't, not really. You have this breath, this heartbeat, this moment. That's it. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the small, simple moments you ignored were the only ones that ever truly mattered. That's the tragedy of waiting for life to begin. It already did. You just weren't there to see it. So what do you do now? You choose. You stop living by the story that was handed to you, and you start writing your own. You stop chasing validation from a world that doesn't even know what it wants. You stop letting fear disguise itself as logic. The fear will always be there. It's supposed to be. It's the sign that you're standing on the edge of something real. Every time you feel it, remember, fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal. It means you're alive. It means you're close to the truth. The truth is this: you've always had the power to begin again. You don't need a new year, a new city, a new chance. You just need a new decision, to live on purpose, to stop chasing what's next and give everything to what's now. The greatest shift of your life won't come from changing the world around you. It'll come from changing the way you see it. When you start living as if every day is a miracle, everything becomes one. You stop needing proof that your life matters, because you start feeling it. But don't mistake awareness for change. Knowing this means nothing unless you act on it. You can't think your way into a new life. You have to live your way into one. You have to take the risk, make the call, speak the truth, forgive, let go, begin again, over and over. You'll fail, you'll stumble, you'll doubt, but that's the price of being alive. That's the cost of freedom. The only real mistake is believing you need to have it all figured out before you start. You don't. You just need to start. This is your reminder that life doesn't wait for readiness. It responds to action. The universe meets you halfway, but only once you take the first step. You can keep waiting for the perfect moment, or you can make this one perfect by showing up for it completely. You are not too late. You are not behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be to begin again. Every day you wake up is another chance to rewrite the ending. Every breath you take is proof that it's not over yet, so stop hesitating, stop looking for signs. This is the sign. The moment you've been waiting for is already here. Feel it, claim it, live it, because when you finally decide to stop chasing and start being, life doesn't just get better, it becomes real. You are standing at the edge of your own life, and for the first time, you can see how much you've been waiting for something that was never going to arrive. You thought the world owed you a sign, that someday the path would light up, and everything would make sense. But there is no sign. There is only this moment and what you choose to do with it. Every second you wait for permission to live is a second that could have been lived fully. You can't keep postponing your own existence, hoping life will one day feel the way you imagined. It won't until you decide it will. You've spent years trying to become someone worth noticing, someone worth loving, someone worthy of peace. But the truth is brutal. You already were. You've just been too distracted to see it. You were born enough, before the achievements, before the failures, before the world told you who you were supposed to be. Somewhere along the way, you forgot that. You started chasing versions of yourself that were never real, thinking the next one would finally fix the emptiness. But the emptiness doesn't come from what you lack. It comes from the belief that you lack anything at all. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not missing some secret piece that everyone else has. You've just forgotten how to be present with yourself without trying to change what you find. That's why you keep running. Because sitting still feels like facing everything you've avoided. But if you don't face it now, when will you? How many more days will you trade for comfort? How many more dreams will you bury under the weight of maybe later? Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It's happening, fast, fragile, and without guarantees. Every moment you waste doubting your worth is a moment you'll never get back. Think about that. One day you'll run out of tomorrows. The people you love will fade into memories. The things you thought mattered will stop mattering. And the only thing left will be the question, did you live or did you wait? That question should shake you to your core because most people never answer it honestly until it's too late. They get to the end of their story and realize they spent their whole life preparing to live instead of actually living. You still have time to change that, but only if you start now. Stop chasing happiness like it's a destination. It's not something you find. It's something you practice. It's in how you show up when no one's watching. It's in how you breathe through the chaos, how you love without guarantees, how you decide that today is enough. Happiness isn't waiting for you at the top of the mountain. It's hidden in the climb itself, in the sweat, in the uncertainty, in the beauty of simply being alive. The moment you understand that, the chase ends, and life finally begins. But understanding isn't enough. You have to act. You have to choose to stop sleepwalking through your own existence. Do something that scares you. Say what you've been holding back. Forgive the people who never said sorry. Forgive yourself for not knowing better sooner. You've carried enough guilt, enough hesitation, enough fear. It's time to put it down. The weight you're carrying was never yours to keep. Let it go. You don't owe the world perfection, you owe it presence. You can keep living like you have all the time in the world, or you can open your eyes and realize this moment right now is your life. Not the life you'll have after you fix everything. Not the life that starts when you feel ready. This is it. The air you're breathing. The ground beneath your feet. The heartbeat in your chest. All of it is proof that you are already living the thing you've been waiting for. So stop waiting. Stop watching your own story from a distance. Step into it. Feel it. Own it. Because there's no rescue coming, no perfect timing, no magical moment where everything finally makes sense. There's only you here now and the choice to stop existing like a ghost in your own life. This is the moment you take it back. This is where you remember what it means to be alive. There comes a moment when you can no longer hide from yourself, when all the excuses you've rehearsed crumble under the weight of truth. You realize the walls you've been trapped behind were never built by anyone else. They were built by your own fear. Fear of failing, fear of being seen, fear of not being enough. And as long as that fear runs your life, you'll keep shrinking to fit inside the spaces you've already outgrown. But something inside you is starting to wake up. You can feel it, a quiet rebellion against everything that's kept you small. It's not anger, it's not desperation, it's something deeper. It's the part of you that finally refuses to live half asleep. You've spent years waiting for clarity, waiting for a sign that it's time to change. But clarity doesn't come first. Action does. You move and the path reveals itself. You risk and the meaning follows. You can't think your way into a new life. You have to step into it, trembling and unsure, and trust that your courage will catch up. Most people never do. They stay where it's safe, even when safe feels suffocating. They convince themselves that the pain of staying is more bearable than the fear of change. But the truth is, safety kills more dreams than failure ever will. You already know this. That's why you feel restless. That's why the things that once satisfied you now feel hollow. It's your soul trying to shake you awake. You can't numb it forever. You can't silence that voice forever. Because deep down, you know what you're meant to do. You're just terrified of what it will cost you. But the greater cost is staying exactly where you are. Every day you delay is a day you trade for comfort. And comfort never built anything worth remembering. There's a fire inside you that's been dimmed by years of fitting in, pleasing others, following rules that were never yours. You've mistaken obedience for peace. But real peace doesn't come from pleasing the world. It comes from listening to the truth that won't leave you alone. It's the whisper that says you were made for more than this. That whisper is your direction. That discomfort is your signal. The pain of ignoring it will only grow louder until you finally move. And when you do, everything changes. Because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you do. You stop flinching at uncertainty. You stop begging for permission. You stop apologizing for wanting more. The moment you stop waiting for the world to give you power and start realizing you already have it, life bends in ways you can't explain. You stop chasing control and start trusting flow. You stop fearing endings and start creating beginnings. That's when the shift happens, not outside you, but inside you. You've been told that change takes time, but the truth is, change takes a decision. One moment of brutal honesty. 1 second of saying, I can't live like this anymore. That's all it takes to break the cycle, because the hardest part isn't the climb, it's the first step. The courage to begin when no one believes in you, when no one's watching, when everything in you screams to go back to what's known. That's the test. And the ones who pass it are the ones who decide to believe before they see. You don't need to know how it all works out, you just need to start. Because once you begin, life meets you where you are. The right people appear, the right moments unfold, the path you couldn't see begins to take shape beneath your feet. But none of it happens until you take that first step. Waiting won't save you, thinking won't save you, only action will. This is the moment you reclaim everything you've lost, the passion, the purpose, the power that fear buried under years of hesitation. This is where you stop surviving and start living. You were never meant to exist quietly. You were meant to burn, bright, relentless, alive. And if that scares you, good. It means you're close. It means the old version of you is cracking open, making room for the truth to come through. So breathe, step forward, and don't look back. Because this isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of the one you were always meant to live. You've spent your whole life preparing for a future version of yourself that never arrives. You tell yourself you'll start once you're ready, once you're stronger, once everything finally makes sense. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. The storm will never stop long enough for you to walk through it untouched. You have to move now, shaking, uncertain, unprepared. Because waiting for courage is how you lose the time you'll never get back. The longer you hesitate, the heavier your dreams become until they suffocate under the weight of what-ifs. You think you're afraid of failure, but what you're really afraid of is being seen trying. You've built your life around appearing in control, when all you've ever wanted was to feel free. The mask is exhausting, isn't it? Pretending you don't care, pretending you're fine, pretending the fire inside you went out. But it didn't. It's still there, waiting for oxygen. Every time your heart aches for something more, that's your soul calling you home. And if you ignore it long enough, it won't disappear. It'll just quietly break you from the inside out. You weren't born to live half a life. You weren't meant to shrink yourself to fit into places that don't see your worth. The world doesn't need another version of what already exists. It needs you, unfiltered and alive. Every time you dim your light to make others comfortable, you betray the very reason you're here. You have something inside you that no one else does. A voice, a vision, a way of seeing that belongs to you alone. If you silence it, the world loses something irreplaceable. You lose yourself. And maybe that's why you've felt lost for so long. Because you've been living someone else's definition of success. Chasing goals that don't belong to you. Following paths you never chose. You've become so good at performing that you forgot what it feels like to live from your own truth. But deep down you know, you can feel it in the moments when life goes quiet. The pull towards something real. Something that doesn't need approval. Something that makes you feel alive even if no one else understands it. That's the direction you've been avoiding because it scares you. But that fear, that's the compass. It's pointing exactly where you need to go. Don't wait until you're ready to follow it. You'll wait forever. The person you're waiting to become will only appear when you start walking. Confidence isn't born in comfort. It's forged in motion. You'll never think your way into change. You'll have to step into it. That's how every transformation begins. Not with certainty, but with surrender. You let go of who you were and step into who you're becoming, even if you don't recognize them yet. You learn that growth is supposed to feel like breaking, that expansion always demands discomfort. You stop running from it and start trusting it. And once you do, the world starts to respond. Opportunities find you. People shift around you. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. But none of that happens until you decide. Until you finally say, I'm done waiting for my life to start. That's when everything begins to align. Not because life suddenly gets easier, but because you stop resisting it. You stop needing guarantees and start living with intention. You start acting like your time actually matters. Because it does. Every single moment you're given is one you'll never get again. And if that doesn't light a fire inside you, then you haven't really faced what's at stake. You are running out of time to live the life that's meant for you. The clock is ticking whether you move or not. So move, say the words, take the risk. Do the thing you keep putting off for a future that might never come. The pain of regret will always weigh more than the fear of trying. This is your turning point. The moment you stop looking for direction and start becoming it. You don't need another sign, you don't need another reason, you just need to decide that your life is worth more than the comfort of staying the same, because it is, you are. And if you have the courage to step into that truth, even for one breath, the entire world will open to meet you.